What you're about to witness is a representation of how scrap steel was recycled by an electric arc furnace. A process that once took 90 minutes. But first, let's make sense of where you are, why it's significant in the history of steelmaking, and what you're about to witness. First, this melting shop is as big as a cathedral, so you navigate your way around by landmarks. Way down to your right, past 4 more furnaces like this one, is the Sheffield end. Over to your left, past F furnace, is the Rotherham end, where the molten steel is refined, cooled, and cast into giant pieces known as billets, before being shipped off for finishing, and then onto manufacturers worldwide. Here, in the middle, where you are, is where the melting takes place. That din, incidentally, is scrap being loaded, ready to charge the furnace. It's stored in huge pens behind where you're standing. Up until the 1960s, steelmaking was a back-breaking process. Armies of men toiled day and night stowing row and row of greedy, smoke-belching coal-fired open hearths. At the flick of a switch, this electric arc furnace changed all that. Our appetite for cars drove up demand for cheaper steel. Cheaper steel meant faster production, forcing steels to harness the power of a lightning bolt. What 14 coal furnaces struggled to produce in 12 hours, he and its 5 sisters in Templeborough did with volcanic ease in less than 90 minutes. And now, for our demonstration. First, you need power. The transformer house delivers it. Each melt gobbles up 750 million units of electricity, equivalent to the consumption of a town the size of, say, Rochdale. Here's the control room. From here, the first hand melter would direct proceedings right up to the moment of pouring or tapping the molten steel. To the right is the furnace itself. It can tilt backwards and forwards at the touch of a button. Further right, that funnel contraption, that's a heat exchanger. It recycles waste heat from the furnace to pre-warm the scrap basket. And finally, the scrap basket, where the process begins.
Here we go.
The scrap basket's now being hoisted over to the furnace by the basket crane operator. Making quality steel means using a balance of graded scrap. Everything from heavy stuff as big as girders to industrial waste like metal shavings and nuts and bolts. It's mixed up with limestone, which soaks up impurities, and pig iron to give it zest by aiding combustion. In order to achieve maximum melt, the team will need to charge the furnace twice. That din is the furnace lid being swung out of the way, ready to receive the first charge. What's critical is aiming 80 tons of scrap directly into the furnace. Now, with the leg back in position, it's time to power up.
Power up, time to power up.
Lowered through holes in the furnace lid are 3 giant graphite electrodes, 5 meters tall. They're suspended over the scrap inside. Now here's what happens next. When a lightning-sized bolt of electricity arcs from one electrode to another, generating scorching heat at 3,000 degrees Celsius, cold steel melts. off the slag and tap the molten steel. By tilting the furnace, the first-hand melter gently pours away the molten impurities. Then congealed into a thick skin of slag that's collected on top of the molten steel. Confident that the bulk of the furnace now contains pure molten steel, it's the job of another member of the team to inch the mighty furnace in reverse. This time, 110 tons of steel pours out like a blazing lava flow into the giant casting pot on the other side of the furnace. And that's how history is made. On December the 10th, 1977, melting shop manager Roger Garbutt opened a Christmas card. It was addressed to his melters and e-burners to celebrate their record-breaking skills. An average of 74 tons an hour every hour for a week. A world record. And the well-wisher? None other than Jim Callaghan, a very grateful Prime Minister. We should be grateful